I'm going to save this question for last. I'm going to play it in the beginning and tell them they don't get to hear it until the end.
Okay.
All right, if somebody comes in town, they get 3 courses to play. What are the 3 courses they must play to really experience the best of Hilton Head? Welcome to Real Talk Hilton Head with David and Dale Cross, the real estate lifestyle podcast of Coastal Carolina.
Join us as we share stories from our community, insight into the local lifestyle, and the real scoop on real estate.
From market trends to home design, we dive deep into what it means to live and thrive here.
Discover the state of mind and philosophy of the Lowcountry that enriches life through personal growth, health and wellness, and human connection.
Whether you're a local or thinking of becoming one, we're here to guide you through the ins and outs of living this coastal escape.
Tune in, relax, and enjoy the conversation with Real Talk Hilton Head,
the podcast of Coastal Carolina.
This episode is brought to you by the David Dale team, powered by eXp Realty in Hilton Head.
All right, well, welcome to the show, Jeff and Trevor. We really appreciate you guys coming out today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, glad to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah,
We're
good to be
super
here.
excited to talk about golf and tennis in the Lowcountry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, if you're coming to the Lowcountry, part of the whole lifestyle is being active, getting out there, and golf and tennis are at the center of it.
Yeah.
100%.
So Jeff, we're going to start with you. We're going to dive right in because that's what the audience wants, right? So the Golden Bear Golf Club, that's where you're at. It's a Jack Nicklaus design course, is that right?
Kind of.
Okay.
If you want to get the facts straight.
Let's do that.
The Golden Bear is not designed by Jack Nicklaus. Most people think it is.
Okay.
The Golden Bear was designed by the Jack Nicklaus design team.
Okay.
So not really Jack Nicklaus. It was a guy actually by the name of Bruce Borland. And this is kind of a bad news, is that Bruce Borland was one of the guys that died on the plane crash with Payne Stewart.
Oh my goodness.
So that's an interesting tidbit to know, so he was part of the Nicklaus Design Company. Now our other course called the Golf Club Indigo Run, that's a Jack and Jackie signature design. So they were here and they designed that golf course.
Oh, so they were personally here and designed
Yes, they were here,
okay.
but they weren't really here Jack wasn't here really for the Golden Bear. That was designed by his company called Nicklaus Design. So,
Got it.
That's just a little tidbit
So
of information.
signature design, he's actually
Signature
intimately
means that the actually designer was there, had hands-on, and signed off on the court. That's my golf course.
Wow.
So Golden Bear is, even though it says the Golden Bear, and a lot of people don't even know what the Golden Bear is. That was Jack
Why don't you
Nicklaus.
explain that? Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus played, his high school team was called the Golden Bears.
Oh.
And people think they called him that because he was a big guy with blonde hair. But no, his team name was the Golden Bears, and
I never
he
knew
was
that.
the captain of the team, that kind of thing. So, and that's
See,
the little things
you
like that.
educated us. No, that's
well,
great.
do you know
I had no
you know where he
idea.
went to college, don't you?
I have no idea. I know, that's
How do you
terrible.
not know that?
No.
I admitted that on camera, didn't I?
He's an Ohio State Buckeye.
No.
Why do you think we have the
I'm in trouble
the
now.
memorial tournament?
Oh,
and
that
we
makes
lived in
sense.
Columbus
We
for
lived
10
in
years.
Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
And the memorial is like what RBC is to us.
Oh yeah.
And the memorial up there, the whole town shuts down.
And that's one of the most beautiful golf courses too. And that
Have you golfed it?
I've never played. I've played Scioto in
Okay.
Columbus, but I've never played Muirfield. So but it's a
Muirfield, yeah.
beautiful tournament, and
Yeah.
he does a great job with
Yeah.
it. So I'm a big Nicklaus fan too. Even
Yeah.
though I had a nice experience with him back in '89 down here too. He was doing an exhibition for some executives from Nabisco
Okay.
that were here back in '89, which is my second year I lived down here. And he needed somebody to help with the exhibition, and I jumped right in, and I was kind of his assistant when he put on this exhibition for all the executives. It was just amazing.
Oh my
He was
God.
about
What an
50 at the
experience.
time, and I'm about 28, and he was hitting the ball with effortless at the same distance I could hit it, and I'm like, wow, this guy's 50, which is old back then.
Yeah.
And he was hitting it, and I'm a 28-year-old young guy that
Yeah.
thinks he's pretty good at golf, and he was making it look easy and hit it just better than I could ever hit it.
Wow.
And he just made it look so easy. I was very impressed. So,
Yeah.
good
well,
guy.
that's what he does.
awesome.
He makes it look easy.
Yeah.
So seeing the Muirfield, right, golf course versus golf courses down here, is there a difference that
Well,
because we have so many Ohioans that come down, right?
It's mostly terrain. There's a big difference, and the grasses. I mean, the grasses are completely different.
Yeah.
The grasses down up north wouldn't live in this climate. Wouldn't make it in this climate.
What is that, mainly fescue up there?
up there is a bent grass,
Okay.
fescue grasses, bluegrasses, a softer textured grass that doesn't have to deal with this kind of humidity. So we have Bermuda grasses down here.
How does that do with the ball? Does it impact the ball movement?
Typically, although the grasses down here are getting better, typically the grasses up north, the greens are faster.
Gotcha.
The rough can grow higher. And maybe not as difficult to play out of the rough up north, even though the grass is higher, because the blades are smoother, easier to go through.
Gotcha.
Down here, the Bermuda only gets about this high. Once it gets about 3 inches, it's almost impossible to play because the ball will just settle in. So
we got like the vines too.
Yeah,
right?
the Bermuda grass is a creeping grass, so it
creeping,
kind of goes this way, whereas up north it doesn't do that. And so it's in a way, it's the elevation change. You would think it'd be hard to play with all the up and down lies, but it's just as difficult to play down here with the flat lies and the heavier air and the grasses, I think. So it's kind of the pros end up shooting about the same, no matter where they go. But like in Harbortown, when they play here in a few weeks, they're not playing on Bermuda. They're playing on a winter rye, which people don't realize. So they're really playing on a northern type of grass because they make it look really green in that time of year. So,
so when do they plant that every year then?
Yeah, they lay it down like in October.
Oh my goodness!
And of course, like even the Golden Bear, we oversee. It's called overseeding, and we overseed with the winter rye. We do our fairways and tees. And that's why we're so busy right now, because when the northerners come down, they want to see green, and they want to, and the golf courses, if they don't overseed, they don't look green in the wintertime unless they paint them. And some courses will actually paint the fairways and paint the greens to make it look green, but the grass is not the grass, it's the dormant Bermuda grass.
Yeah, which is brown.
It's brown. So when people come in, they think our course is in such great shape. No, we just made the decision to overseed it, which we kind of pay a price in May when the weather gets really warm and the rye dies and the Bermuda's trying to grow, so we have a conflict there. But the revenue that we make and the reviews are unbelievable, but it's only because we overseeded to a certain degree. But it's expensive to overseed. It's a big investment, and but we make up for it with the revenue.
So that Bermuda, when it comes. It fights through then, right? And it
Bermuda
takes over, no problem.
The Bermuda wants right now. It's trying to grow. We're in the middle of March, end of March, and if we didn't overseed, you'll see the green courses like I think Dolphin Head, some of the courses that didn't overseed, they're going to start to green up pretty quickly because there's no competition. The Bermuda is just starting to grow. We're still fertilizing our rye because we want it to look. So we're kind of choking out the growth of the Bermuda this time of year to keep the revenue flow until about Memorial Day. And then we turn it off, and then we start getting aggressive air. It's called aerification. You start punching the fairways and the greens and try to get that Bermuda going. And then
there's a lot that
then at the end, then in October rolls around, we do it all over again.
Cool.
Do it all over again in October. So
me as a layperson that's never played golf or really, I hate to admit it, been into it. That's amazing. That blows my mind how intricate it is.
Shall we confess to the audience?
Yes, we will confess.
Okay.
Superintendents.
We don't golf.
This is why we have professionals coming to teach us.
Those superintendents have a tough job. They do. Some of them do unbelievable work. But it's a very stressful job. I don't think every superintendent I know smokes and drinks. Because
it's not just the Lowcountry lifestyle.
Every realtor I know does the same thing.
And every one of them,
every tennis professional.
and every one of them wouldn't want. They can't understand how I can be face to face with the customer all day long, dealing with that stuff like that. Because they want to just be away and do their job. So it's a different personality that takes that job.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I love working in front of people, and and it's not easy all the time. But I couldn't imagine the stress that they go through.
To make it perfect.
They can't control the weather, and if there's a mistake with a mixture and they're putting a chemical on a green and something happens, that's their job.
And they kill the whole thing, right?
So it's a stressful
Burn the
job.
grass out.
And most get paid very well, and they deserve it. Superintendents,
Wow.
So they deserve it for sure.
So what's the best season of golf here then? Is it the winter?
My favorite month is November.
I could. There you go. Technical.
November is my favorite time of year because most of the time the overseeding is taking place. So and there's not as many people here. So
that's the key, the traffic on it.
The weather is spectacular in November. And we're beyond that overseeding process. The overseeding process in October is tough because if courses decide to overseed, they got to keep the carts off the fairways for a couple weeks, and they got to water. And so the carts are kind of restricted to the cart paths, and the fairways, as the 2 weeks go, it takes about 2 weeks, the grass gets higher and higher and higher, and then people just don't like it. And the weather's perfect in October, but they can't really enjoy the experience because the course is in a process of overseeding.
Yeah.
So that in November, that's kind of all done. So November, it looks great, and then the tourists go away to a certain degree. And so access to the courses is there too in November. So this is, I'm thinking more from the public side.
Yes,
Right.
But even the private clubs that are overseeding, some don't.
Yeah.
But the ones that do overseed are kind of planning their tournament schedules around the overseeding and stuff. Their member guests, their big tournaments, and the private clubs are thrive on that stuff.
Right.
So November was always the month to run for me to run the big tournaments because everything was in really good condition.
Good shape.
So
how many golf clubs are there on the island?
there's about 25 golf courses on Hilton Head.
Just on the island.
On the
Just
island.
on the
On the
island.
island.
And in Bluffton?
In Bluffton, there's another 8 or 10.
Wow.
Because you get the 6 right up on off the island, the high-end
That-
private
yeah.
clubs, the
Yeah.
Carlton River, the Belfair, and Berkeley Hall, the Old South across the street,
Yeah.
Moss Creek, and
Are you thinking of selling your home?
With our exclusive Elevate package, we combine over 50 years of experience, cutting-edge data analytics, our unique marketing strategies, and our extensive network to help your home rise above the rest.
While maximizing your sales price and minimizing the time on the market.
So contact the David Dale team today to learn more.
Now, some of
Hilton Head
these,
National.
are these private or public?
How
does that work?
off the island is about half and half. I mean, you got Hilton Head National's public, what's the course?
Is
there?
Old
Crescent
South?
Point, Old South's public.
Yeah.
So that just means people can come in
Anybody
and,
can go.
okay, and reserve, okay.
Moss Creek's private, and then you got Belfair, Carlton, and Berkeley. All those are all public.
Those are public?
I mean private.
I was going to
private,
say, yeah,
sorry,
I thought those are
private.
private,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, don't tell those residents after that fee that they're public.
Yeah, so no, there's tons of golf. I mean,
Okay.
tons of golf courses, and tons of tennis courts.
We're going to get to your
Yeah.
tennis
Yeah,
here.
tons
Don't
and
you
tons
worry.
of golf
Just hold
courses.
tight, audience.
Yeah.
We got lots of tennis.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
good.
So how do some of our courses compare to courses around the country?
Well, and can I caveat that? So, because as I told you before, real estate, we get a lot of people looking.
Yeah.
You know, all up and down the coast. They're looking at Florida. They're looking at Wilmington. How would we compare? Because I've heard a lot of people are kind of fleeing Florida and kind of settling back here, and golf is one of the reasons they like the area
Yeah.
for it.
Concentrated wise, I don't think anybody can match us for the number of square miles we have such quality golf courses. I mean, we got high ranked courses around here. Now, maybe not all accessible to the public.
Okay.
But like the Long Cove Club is just off the charts. It used to be a top 100 for years and years and years.
Really?
I mean, obviously Harbortown.
Harbortown.
And Harbortown's got 2 other golf courses that they've kind of kept up to speed, Atlantic Dunes and Heron Point, and those are beautiful golf courses. The same layouts they've been over the years. They've been around for 30 years, but they've made them really, really nice. So the island is, concentration-wise, I think, is nobody in the country can compare with us. Now, up north and spread around the country, in Florida too, there's tons of golf courses, but they're not that concentrated.
And not as beautiful, right? And well maintained?
Well, no, I mean, Florida's got some off-the-charts places, some beautiful, private clubs. I mean, there's tons of public courses down there. And Florida's huge, Florida's huge.
But I think, to your point, I think if somebody say they moved to Bluffton, you're talking 30-some courses within 20-minute drive.
Absolutely.
that they're
Right.
Absolutely.
It's like, come on.
And
You can't get bored with that.
No, you can't do that in Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you can't do anything like that at all. And Florida is warm too. I mean, it gets hot down, like you mentioned Naples earlier, and they just kind of empty out the Florida in the summertime. Florida kind of empties out with the private clubs, and they go up north. They'll go up. They even go beyond here because it's warm down here too in the summertime.
It does. But not for the length of period that it
no.
is.
And
in
I don't think
Florida.
it's as intense personally. I find that when we do travel baseball, like I feel like our summers, they're warm, but I feel like Florida is just
It's another level.
Because you lived in Florida?
I did. Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
grew up
so you
there.
know that.
Oh, yeah. No,
You were on the tennis court.
I was on
in
the
that
tennis
heat.
courts in the heat. Yeah, so
So you've done summers here on the tennis court, summer there.
100%.
Which one would you?
equitable, one benefit here is, we're predominantly clay, so you don't have the heat reflection off the hard surface. So when I was growing up as a junior and stuff like that, trained a lot on hard courts.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot warmer. But yeah, I would say it's around the same, but definitely a little bit nicer here.
Okay.
And definitely, as you kind of stated earlier, not as long of a season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would,
that's go ahead.
I was when I went to college in Florida, and,
okay.
and I was in Tallahassee, and I remember my summer orientation. I had to go down there in July. And again, I'm from New England.
Oh, wow.
And so I come down there, and my parents were down with me, and it was like 106 degrees in Tallahassee and 100% humidity.
Yeah.
I had never felt that in my life. Now, I think Tallahassee is one of the hottest spots in Florida.
Yeah.
But
like you
I'm
were
like,
cooking from
I'm
the
like, wow, do I
inside
really
out?
want to come back? And I was like, do I have to come back here in the fall? And, but it was Tallahassee. I had a nice climate in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But here, what's nice about Hilton Head, it's a 12-month business for golfers. I mean, there's not we don't
that's
have an
perfect.
off season. It cools down in December, January, February. But I always tell people, if there's 31 days in January, 20 days in February, you can play 20 of those outside. Do something outside easily. Easily.
Yeah.
And sometimes the weather's spectacular. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not. But there's not going to be
Like this year, we had that 7
Yeah.
days there where it was like
It snowed
the
this
ice
year.
age.
But I don't. It goes by so fast. Right now we're in March, so even. But as I like to play, I like to go outside, play golf, play tennis, and I love to be outside. And you can do that here without even most every day.
Yeah.
I mean, very few days you can't.
Yeah.
What about you with tennis, Trevor? Did
Yeah.
you kind of feel it's the same?
Kind of the same thing. Yeah, our busiest times are kind of typical winter months. So from like November straight through, really April. That's our busy season.
Wow.
Oh, is it?
They run pretty parallel.
Yeah, they really
do.
did.
They run parallel.
They do.
Yeah.
And it shuts. Does it slow down a lot in the summer? A little too hot? For
It's a little bit
folks?
different, So that's a lot of times, families are coming in from up north and want to kind of come in, play some tennis, enjoy the summer. So it kind of switches in terms of locals versus visitors, but we're pretty packed year round. But yeah, it definitely slows down a little bit in the summer in comparison to kind of your October, November through April.
Okay.
No, go ahead, because I know you had a question.
I was just going to ask you, what do you think it makes Hilton Head such a stronghold for tennis? Because there's obviously a lot of academies. Every neighborhood has tennis courts,
Well,
clubs.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all accessible, right? So depending on whatever level you want to play at tennis, there's a spot for you. If you want high-end academies, we have 2 academies on the island. You have Vandermeer, and then you have Smith Stearns, very notable places. As you kind of stated, every community has a club. So like within Hilton Head Plantation where I work, Spring Lake, we have 12 courts open to all residents. You can come play, for a small fee. Some it's kind of included with your POA dues. But there's also a culture of people kind of going around and playing different clubs as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the hard court versus clay.
Correct.
Is that not normal to have because we have like clay almost everywhere here, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So is that not normal?
And it's green clay, not red clay.
Not
'cause
red
there
clay,
is a
green clay.
difference.
There is a difference.
What is the difference?
What's made of? So green clay is mined rock out of what's the best way to put it? It's mined out of Charlottesville. It's called green rock. It's crushed. It's a porous rock, and when you break it up, it forms a crystalline structure, kind of holds it down.
Okay.
Where you're looking at European red clay is crushed brick.
Oh.
So in terms of playability, that's going to be a lot slower, a lot softer, a lot messier.
So that's what the
On the
French
red
Open
clay.
is played on.
French
then.
Open's
Okay,
played
got
on that
it.
as well. So
They
I
call it
wouldn't wear one
Hartrue,
within
right?
whites.
They call it Hartrue here?
Hartrue
Hartrue's
is
very-
the actual name of it.
Hartrue.
Yeah. So American made, American.
So is the green clay faster than the
In
red
comparison
clay?
to
Is
red
that
clay,
what you
yes,
mean? Okay.
100%.
But then compare that to the hard courts.
Significantly slower. So benefits of clay, it's easier on the body. You can slide. In terms of temperature, because it's not, a hard surface. The reflection off the ground, you're not going to see as much heat.
Okay.
So during the summers, it's a lot more tolerable versus on a hard court where, let's just say it's 90 degrees and you get that reflection. That's gonna steam coming up.
I've been on those
Locally,
courts.
you could be over 100, right? Yeah, shoes are melting.
The shoes are melting.
But yeah, most of the island, I think, other than a handful of courts, are predominantly clay.
Yeah.
Do pickleball? Do pickleballers play on clay ever, or is that strictly a hard court?
There's been
So
some places like in some of the maybe even Spring Lake and maybe the country club at Hilton Head have experimented with starting pickleball on the clay.
Yeah.
Seeing how busy it gets and maybe converting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of where some of the clubs are at now. And then some clubs that have decided it's going to be a big enough thing, like at the Wexford Club, they just put in 6 pickleball courts designated.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the other clubs have done the same thing because pickleball is so popular. They've converted their either added or
like
converted.
Palmetto Dunes, right?
Palmetto
Yes.
Dunes, just ripping them
Yeah.
out and putting in pickleball.
Are you thinking about making a move to the Lowcountry?
Whether you're searching for the perfect home or you're exploring vibrant communities on the coast or dreaming of a new lifestyle, we're here to help.
Contact the David Dale team today and let's make your dream a reality.
Wow.
It's funny because I remember the first time we ever came and we stayed at Palmetto Dunes, it was like nothing but tennis, like everything. And then by like 3 years later, they got like 2 courts and everything goes pickleball.
Correct. Yeah, they're moving definitely in that way. And again, it's what would you rather play when you're coming out with your family? I know personally, if I'm going to go play, pickup game with my girlfriend, my parents, I'll go play around a pickle. It's a lot easier because you can kind of meld in different levels easier than tennis.
Okay.
Yeah,
what's that saying, famous by Friday?
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Start on Monday, right?
Monday, famous
by Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true.
Exactly,
Very
exactly.
true. It's kind of an interesting
It is.
phenomenon. Yeah.
Well, speaking of levels, so in both golf, tennis, and pickleball, do those sports accommodate the different levels? Like, could you come in and say, hey, Jeff, I have no idea how to play golf. Can someone learn from scratch?
Yeah, I mean, I teach a lot of golf at Indigo Run at Golden Bear, and although most of my students are probably experienced golfers,
So they come here already experienced.
yeah, they've played some golf, or they want to get back into it, or they've retired and they want to start. So I do a wide variety.
Yeah.
A wide variety. Yeah.
What about tennis and
Yeah,
pickleball?
same. So definitely with pickleball becoming a lot more popular, there's a lot more new people entering the sport. So yeah, for us, a lot of the stuff we do is a lot more entry level, getting people kind of started into it and kind of progressing them up the ladder. Same thing with tennis. One of the things that we've kind of started with is spec tennis, which is kind of a hybrid between pickleball and tennis. You play on a tennis court, smaller paddles. It's a great entry, a transition into the sport of tennis because tennis is a little bit harder in terms of skill acquisition. So that kind of makes that learning curve a little bit easier.
Spec tennis.
Spec
Hold on,
tennis.
I've never heard of this. So what's the paddle look like?
So think of a pickleball paddle, but more round, and it's a little bit heavier.
Okay.
So instead of a wiffle ball, you use a low compression tennis ball. So you get that same tennis feel.
So like I'm going back to being a 7-year-old again, learning tennis, right?
Yeah, a
Like
little
this.
bit, yeah. So it's a smaller court. You play on a court the same size as a pickleball court.
Okay.
So it's a great kind of transition for people who maybe want to get into tennis but don't want to spend all that time kind of getting ready and doing it. They want to get playing immediately.
Yeah.
That's for them. And the same thing for pickle. It's another good way kind of using your racket skills.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Well, in pickleball, and both of you could probably answer this. I mean, I know there's a couple new places that have opened up on the island, and do we want to talk to that a little bit and share how pickleball is just growing? It's exploded here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see it taking over tennis?
Or
No, I think they were kind of in conjunction.
Yeah, I think they go together. I can't.
Okay.
I have that question a lot. And not to be a. I just think tennis is here to stay. It has kind of feels like it's kind of on a slight decline, but it's ever so slight.
Okay.
And I just think in the long run, I think tennis is going to hang in there and be a great, because it's a great sport.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
It's competitive. It's not that easy to learn.
No. No,
it's hard.
It's a challenge. Whereas, I'll do that again. Sorry, guys. But I said, but pickleball was very easy to learn, and it's very fun to play, and it's a lot of fun. And I just think tennis is going to hang in there and maybe even prevail. It's just my long-term.
You do.
Yeah.
I think tennis will prevail because we've lost racquetball, we've lost a couple things. But if I had to guess, but I still think tennis will prevail because of its skill level requirement. I think people are driven. Some people are driven to get good at something.
Every
And I
time
think
you
tennis
feel
is more on
like
that
you've
one.
got it, right, Trevor?
Oh, yeah,
Right,
sure. Well, it's
Jeff?
like golf, too.
Every
Golf
time you
is-
feel like
golf-
you've
Yeah, golf's
got
the
it.
same thing.
I think COVID
Yeah.
might have helped golf out a lot.
Well,
but,
yeah, because I
helped a
heard
lot,
there
right?
was a decline. If
golf
I
was
wasn't
on a slight decline, like I just mentioned about tennis. Even though I might be wrong, but golf was on a little slight decline. Now it's just insane. It might have been because of the COVID had an effect, got some more people into it. But golf's a blast if you are fairly skilled at it, but it's not easy. It takes time to learn, I think. But I think that's the allure, because that's how I was obsessed by how can I get better at this? I got to practice. I got to get better at it. So there were still people like that out there that want to do that.
Yeah, I know somebody who's sort of driven in tennis a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you know her?
I think I do.
I think you met her before.
Yeah, I think I met her once or twice.
Yeah.
And I think people get driven with.
I'm saying.
I was gonna say, just get her a shack next to the court. So all
Yeah.
she's got to do is wake up and just roll out of
It's gotta
bed.
make life so much easier.
Yeah, we added pickleball to it Indigo Run. We added just a couple of years ago. We put in. We just cleared out a lot. We had a lot of land by our tennis courts. We have 6 hard-true courts, and we had some open land, and we had to go through the town and stuff and get it all approved. But we flattened out, took out some trees, and put in 8 pickleball courts.
Wow.
Are they used
We're moving to Indigo
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah, Indigo Run's got 8 pickleball, and they're used. They're not super busy because it's a membership. It's a private club, but they're very busy in the mornings. And they've got some programs over there, and there's a new gal they've hired that's Kathy Schaefer. I'm not sure you know Kathy.
Okay.
She's kind of handling the pickleball now over there. So, but it's great. It's good.
So one of the things that our clients are looking for when they come is connection. So that's a big part of why we wanted to highlight golf and tennis and obviously pickleball now that it's growing. I mean, are people pretty open when new people come to the club? How do you get people integrated into your club and getting to know others?
On the social side.
On the social side, yeah.
So I can start with that. So on the tennis side, so we really wanted to kind of foster that. So we've had a ton of new people kind of moving in. So we kind of get you started off with a round robin, maybe a skill assessment, see where you're at. If you're already playing, that's great. We'll take your USTA rating, kind of plug you in where it is. But there's so many groups that kind of spawn off of our round robins that, hey, I met you here. We have a group on Tuesday. Why don't you come join us? Same thing with pickleball. We're really big with the Hilton Head Plantation Women's Club. So big organization within our community. People come in, meet each other, and then they kind of form their little groups out of that.
Okay.
Yeah. You did that for me. Like when I first started tennis, I never played before, whatever. And then the first thing you did was plug me in with Roger and those guys.
Oh, for sure.
And they were awesome. I mean, and what I loved about it too is like Roger's 77, 78?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of these guys were like in their 80s, and they took me in like it was nothing. It was like, it was really cool. And they were whooping on me, but that's okay.
And they made him do the running.
Exactly. Gotta watch out for him.
So like, he's a little exuberant. Let's see if he'll chase this one.
And they put it exactly where they
And
wanted
I did
it to
chase
go.
it though.
Oh yeah. But that's the one good thing about tennis is you can play at any age, at any level, and you can find your spot.
And at Spring Lake, you go from the basic 3-0 all the way up, right?
Yeah,
Beyond
2-0 all the way up to 5-0.
Oh, there is a 2-0? I didn't even know that.
Beginning, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where you
So I was
start
like a
out.
2-5.
No, you're like I think he's a good 4-0.
4-0. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
3-5.
3-5.
That's fun. Thank you, Trevor. You're actually good. 4-0. My wife, she's so sweet.
Oh, she was
encourage you
a
guys.
4-0. I heard one time. That's the furthest thing from a 4-0.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Someone on the
And the golf
rise to a
calls
5-0. Come on.
Sam,
Exactly.
shh, don't tell
Oh, that's
everyone. But so is it the same with you on the golf side?
Yeah, golf, assimilating a new member into the club is a challenge. Some clubs have, we had, when I was at a different course, we had ambassadors, we'd call them. So whenever we had new members and go through the new membership process, those people would kind of get them and play with them and find out the right groups for them to join and stuff like that. And there's men's days and ladies' days and wine and dines and twilight golfs. It's a perfect time for the new folks to come in and get paired with another couple. Then they'll introduce them at a dinner that night. So, and then it all starts.
So there's a lot of social connection.
100%.
Oh yeah,
with these sports,
and that's a big.
right?
It's a big part of the club. The golf club life is the social atmosphere. Is it social?
Because that's the biggest concern they have is coming is, I'm leaving all my friends, leaving everything I've known. I've been in the same place for 20 years. Am I going to have the life? And I tell everybody, it's like, we're all from somewhere else. Like, you're from Massachusetts, you're from Florida. It's like everybody's from somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and some clubs have like incentives too for them for the current membership to invite friends, or if they bring people in that they know, and they've given them incentives on their dues and stuff like that.
Oh, so that's why I get all those invites.
Could be, yeah.
Somebody's trying to get the gift card.
Yeah, you get like a
I thought they liked me.
Because you want to.
Yeah, man.
And when they're recruiting new members too, the members that they want to, are the members that know a lot of people too, and people from up north and stuff like that. So you're trying to get that whole.
We call that multi-level marketing in Ohio, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So if someone's new to the area and they're just beginning golf, what would be the best golf course for them to start at? On the island or in Bluffton?
Well, there's no real, I wouldn't consider, I saw your, there's no real beginner golf courses here. I mean, these are all, I would say all the golf courses on Hilton Head are kind of, you put them on that championship type of level.
So that's
they all have,
level.
they all have the ability to, now the golf courses, most golf courses have like 5 sets of tees, 4 or 5, sometimes 6 sets of tees. Wow. And they're labeled based on your ability to a certain degree or how far you hit the ball. So even courses that appear to be very difficult, they can play easier based on where the tee positions are and stuff like that.
What tee do you shoot from?
I play usually from the second set of tees.
Okay.
Which I'm learning that maybe need to be playing from the third set of tees. It's my age right now. So,
No.
I have my young son is a very good golfer, and he makes me play a tee a little bit longer, but I like it because I'm competitive. And, but he's starting to beat me kind of regularly. So,
You're gonna have to take a handicap.
That'll never happen, Asher. I'm just kidding.
If I'm I'm a little more competitive. I don't have to hit it as far. So, no. So most golf courses, I don't really think of any course. There's one course in Port Royal called the Barony.
Okay. Yep.
And that's a pretty easy golf course.
What makes it easy?
The wider fairways,
Straighter?
the flatter greens.
More room for air.
It's got a little more room. It's always kind of a friendly course to play. There's some beautiful holes and some difficult holes on it, but overall, I would say it's probably one of the easier golf courses. Okay. Shipyard's got some 3 9-hole courses, and they're not super long, but they're narrow, and there's homes really close. So narrow's not isn't easy to me, even though it's short. Sea Pines Country Club is a beautiful course, private. It's not long, but it's very well maintained, and it's on the narrow side. So I don't say it's not easy because it's not that easy. So I don't think there's really any course you would say is easy down here. They can be easy if you play them from a forward tee or so forth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is there a difference in tennis courts?
Other than hard and clay?
Yeah, that's it.
Grass and all that? No. So for the island, as I said earlier, there's a couple hard court options. Majority are clay, so it doesn't matter kind of where you go. They're all going to probably play pretty similar.
Yeah.
I know some courts you're going to notice some of the difference between their sub-irrigated versus above-ground irrigated. They're going to play maybe a little softer or a little harder, kind of depending.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're all within a certain range.
Okay.
So how does our tennis compare to, like, say, a Florida or up north?
Yeah,
like the competitive nature of it. I know that
that's a tough thing. So we're still a pretty small area, kind of like Jeff was saying earlier. So I guess our benefit is you can go to every club within a 20-minute drive.
Right.
Where Florida, 20 minutes, that might get you down half the road.
Right.
So where they might have maybe a bigger pool, we're definitely, have a lot more options.
Okay.
Well, I've noticed even like when Dale in the USTA, when she travels and goes to these tournaments, like you get cities like Atlanta and Charlotte. It feels like it's really intense.
It is. Yeah, definitely
They're
different
bringing
culture.
in some. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Once you kind of get into a little bit more of a dense community,
Yeah.
you're going to get a couple more higher end players moving
Yeah.
down, doing this.
Yeah.
But I still think we're very competitive. We win states. Our leagues, our
for sure.
teams win states quite a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
what Hilton Head can kind of bring compared to a lot of the other communities, areas within South Carolina, yeah, we're up there.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you guys get here? I mean, you're from Massachusetts. You came down in the 80s. Was that after college? Or you, wait, so you went to Florida?
Monday, October.
You actually
At
remember
12
the
o'clock.
day?
The day, there was a Black Monday.
Oh, yes. I actually remember.
The market crash. I was supervising a group of traders
Oh, my
at
goodness.
Fidelity Investments on Black Monday.
How you doing?
And that was kind of the trigger.
That was your defining moment.
And then not too long after that, I left Fidelity Investments and I moved to Hilton Head. My wife at the time, I had been here a few times, played golf, and her mother lived down here, so I knew about Hilton Head. So I came here on vacation a couple of times, and she wanted to move down here. I had a 1-month-old baby on that.
Wow.
Wait
day
a
of the
minute.
market
This
crash.
was like when there was was the swinging bridge there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. This is
Okay.
it was after that.
Okay, I was gonna say, but I mean, this is like a long. I mean,
No.
nothing was
No,
here.
none of the rotaries were there here, but no, it was. We didn't have the connector to 278. I mean, to 95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I was here in '88, and
goodness.
it was about the same. I mean, quite a few changes, but
Yeah. So you were a trader prior to?
yeah, I worked for
And
Fidelity.
then when you came down here, you moved into golf profession, or
I
did
kind of
you-
came down here and wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I kind of just started playing golf, having a big golf background. So I get to know some of the golfers down here, some of the pros and stuff like that. And I got offered a job at Port Royal and jumped in there and I got my Class A pretty quickly and landed a job at Bear Creek, where I was for about 20 years as a director of golf there for a long time.
Oh,
back when
wow.
it was a private club.
Okay.
It was a private, and I left there in 2012.
Oh, wow.
And then now I'm at Golden Bear, like the last 8 years at Golden Bear.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was it for your wife that brought what? She just was like, I want to
She
live at the
visited?
beach, or
I don't think she wanted to handle the way it was living in Boston. Boston was a tough one. We had just started dropping the baby off at daycare, and she had to drop him off. I had the pleasure of picking him up, so it was a lot easier for me. She didn't like that, and the hustle and bustle and living in the city. And then after the stock market crash, they were kind of given options to stay with the company or move on. And Fidelity gave us some very generous, they called them separation packages. They bought us out, and I said, wow, that's a lot of money. And so we bought a lot in Hilton Head Plantation, built a house, and started from there.
Wow. So
Wow.
you started off in Hilton Head Plantation.
Hilton Head Plantation, yeah.
That's
how many
awesome.
houses were there? Because there's about 4,400 right now.
It was
Yeah.
still pretty busy
Yeah,
in
okay.
'88. Yep, I lived on a road called Field Sparrow, a small little
Yeah, I know
patio
what
home
Field
there,
Sparrow
and then I bought
Right
a
by
house
the
in,
club.
off
Right.
Oyster Reef Drive in Pearl Reef. I
Yeah.
moved to Pearl
Yeah.
Reef, and I bought a bigger house because I had 3 kids at that time.
The island was good to you,
Yeah,
Jeff.
yeah. So it was great. I mean, I had a great career at Bear Creek, and
So did your kids go to Hilton Head High?
all 3 of them are.
Yeah, he's there now.
All
He's a
3 of them are
Seahawk.
Seahawks. All 3 of them are
Yeah.
Seahawks. Yeah.
See the new high school? Isn't that amazing?
That they built
Oh, it
Nate?
looks
Unbelievable, yeah.
phenomenal.
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It'll be in time for Shiloh, too.
Yeah.
They got the new tennis courts they've got over there.
Yes.
They moved them a few years ago, and
Yeah.
so my son used to play in the high school team and stuff like that.
It's
Oh,
one
wow.
of the only hard courts on the island. One
Not
of
many.
the few
It's
places.
not that
many.
many.
So now, I'm out of curiosity with your kids, because it's funny because we often say to them, "Hey, would you guys ever want to leave?" Because when we first got here, they came from Charlotte,
Yeah.
But now they don't. So are your kids here still?
I have one. My middle son is here. I have 2 grandchildren. So he lived in Charlotte for a while.
Yeah.
And, but he has 2 kids. He lives here. Works for the Sonesta.
Okay.
And does the group sales for the Sonesta.
Yeah.
It's a nice job there. And my youngest is in Charlotte, and he's the golfer, the tennis player, and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and he loves it up there. But,
It's a great town.
And now his wife, my daughter-in-law, works remotely, and they both have good jobs, and they could probably travel. But they, I don't see them moving to Hilton Head. I think,
Yeah.
But it's not that far away, Charlotte.
Yeah, it's 3
No.
hours.
It's not that far away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We love going up there.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Trevor, how about you, man? How
So,
did
how
How
your
many kids you
journey-
got?
He's the smart one.
hero. He is the kid.
He would be like my middle son. He's
Elizabeth.
about 33.
33.
33. So he's like right in the middle of
Baby.
my kids.
Yep.
Yes. Now, you started in Florida?
No, so grew up,
Virginia.
my family, my dad's a tennis director as well, so he was running a club down in South Florida, moved the family up when I was a junior in high school, and then
Moved to Virginia, right? When
Northern
you-
Virginia, yep.
Yeah.
So kind of did that, went off to college, came back up there, got a job in Northern Virginia teaching.
Tennis?
Teaching tennis, working for a tennis management company up there. And then kind of was looking at other options. We love the beach, why not? But what was nice about Hilton Head, so this was actually the home base for the PTR, the Professional Tennis Registry.
Okay.
Really?
Up until last year, yeah. So kind of founded here. It's been here for years, so great selection of pros. This is kind of where they have their big meeting every year. So I actually had the privilege and honor of going there right before COVID, so in 2019. Kind of got a feel for the island, first time being down here, and it was just like awestruck. This place is awesome. So I was like, oh, I could live down here.
What was it about that? What was it that
just
made you awestruck?
Courts everywhere. Everyone was so friendly. Just the overall vibe of the island was great.
Yeah.
So went back home. COVID hit, so kind of got laid off of work. Was looking for other options. Found an option down here, and I was like, I think this is the move. So applied, and here I am.
The option was Spring Lake.
Spring
Tennis
Lake,
Club,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
And this is
So-
where you've been ever since.
Ever since.
And
3
Trevor,
years.
you've done such an amazing job growing that club.
Oh, thank
I
you.
mean, from what it was to what it is now, the amount of programs that you have, the head pros you've chosen are amazing.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I can't.
You need tennis, Spring Lake Tennis Club. I'm telling you.
Dale's a fan.
From experience.
Dale's a super fan.
No, it all comes back down to our residents. Very active club. 12 courts. There's many days where, it's tough to get a court. At given times. But yeah, so very
The
active.
main times are in the morning, right?
Oh, for sure. It's a
from
beautiful
9:30.
time, 8:30 to 12:30. So we're usually pretty packed. There's always something to do right around then. There's stuff later. We've just started instituting evening hours, so we're now open till 8 p.m. Working on trying to get lights.
Lights, and you also have events
And-
to celebrate Wimbledon.
And we're trying to get pickleball, right?
Yes.
Oh
we are
yeah,
trying to
so we have pickleball. We have we're kind of starting with it. So we have a sport court. It was our dabble into it.
They took out land and created
sure,
it.
for
We get
Trevor
to
would
share
love
it
to
with
do that.
leaves and basketball courts and kids.
We're
and-
getting there. We're getting there. So it's on the docket. It's just a matter of when.
Okay, that's good.
We need lights first.
Get the
They
lights.
had lights
All
at
the
Spring
above.
Lake.
They
A long
had
time ago.
lights?
They had
All the
lights at
above.
Spring Lake back when
did.
I lived in Hilton Head Plantation
Oh,
for many,
wow.
many years, and they had lights. And
happened?
one day, one of them came down,
Oh,
and it kind of rusted out and came down. And they ended up taking them down at that point. They weren't really used much at all.
yeah, because most people are
not
bent
much
by
of a-
age.
There's not a big market for night
Yeah.
tennis. There is
But
some.
it's changing now.
It's definitely
That's the
changing.
thing.
Yeah,
The island's
definitely
getting
changing.
younger
Is it?
overall.
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like it's
Yeah.
getting younger?
I think so. I feel it is.
And we have,
Um,
and the other Indigo Run, we have 2 of our courts are lit, and it's being promoted now. They're promoting teams that want to play, or offering lessons, or offering clinics, or drop-ins late to get people who would think about it. Wow, we're gonna do so. We get at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we can go to Indigo Run in the wintertime and do something.
Yeah.
Because Mary Brooks making those things happen. So
Yeah.
And what I love about that is that, to explain to people that are coming in with 5, 6 o'clock, obviously we're done with work, there's not many options on the island with lights.
I think
so that's a big
you definitely hit the nail on the head there. Going to your point, does it feel like it's getting younger? I think there's more people that are coming down that still work either remote or or finding jobs down here. So that hasn't really been the case up until recently, in my opinion. So
I agree.
there's now a need for something a little later.
Yeah, I 100%. We're seeing that now because they're saying like the Gen Xers, they're at the top end. They're about 59, 60 right now, and they're much more flexible and early to move, but they're definitely have that real. They want to still be active, still be fit,
You're
still
exactly right.
longevity. They're biohackers. I mean, they have
Yep.
a totally different approach to life
For sure.
So Yeah, So if you're out there, call us, David and Dale. We'll help you get settled in. So did you move over to Indigo Run then?
I do not. No, I live off of Gumtree Road.
Oh, okay.
So I'm nearby. I'm very close to here.
Yes.
And you actually knew where it was.
Yeah.
Unlike some other guests. No, we'll forgive him.
Inside joke.
No.
Inside.
All right, so quick question for you. What is the biggest mistake beginners make in golf and tennis?
Well, I would think as far as I think they get too involved with their equipment purchases versus taking lessons. I think that they could be better off if they had $3,000 to spend. You spend $1,000 on the clubs and $2,000 on the lessons for over a period of time, versus spending $3,000 on the clubs and going to YouTube.
Exactly. Hey, how did you know I go to YouTube?
Promoting ourselves. We're promoting things. Right.
I love it.
But so I think there's things that you can learn a lot on YouTube and stuff like that. But there's no substitute for having
an actual professional.
Yeah.
100%.
So because Dale bought me some clubs because she's trying to get me to golf. And,
this is a very sad story. Do we dare go?
No, we don't have to go to the whole story. But my question for you is, does it really matter for me then, like you said, like does it really matter where you start off with clubs? If you're just
I don't think
off?
It's that big of a deal.
Okay.
I think you want to have some quality clubs, and a professional could probably give you a very good advice on not even watching you swing once or twice and say that's a good investment for you.
Okay.
But the fittings are important, but not as important as the basic swings. It's kind of probably like a tennis racket. I mean,
100%.
Tennis rackets, some of them too stiff, they could probably hurt yourself with them.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if the pro for just a few minutes could probably figure out that will work for you. Let's work on your strokes. That kind of stuff. That's my kind of thought about it.
So when you're teaching somebody a stroke, are you teaching the same thing? Like if somebody comes in, you got 10 people, and you're going to teach them all, or you're going to look at them and go, well, I'm going to teach you different.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
So
Okay.
it's kind of like a fitting. Everyone has their different backgrounds that they come from.
Okay.
So let's just say Jeff's coming in, big golf background, has different things he's working on with his golf swing, versus maybe someone who's coming from a baseball background.
Yeah.
You're going to have two very widely different approaches to the game.
Yeah.
So how can we leverage those past experiences and kind of put that into a game style,
memory,
that muscle memory, because you're not going to fight it, right?
Yeah.
So especially if you're picking up tennis later in life, you're not going to want to go and teach the same way you're going to teach a kid who's starting at 6.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So strokes might look a little different, but there's always big major components that need to happen.
Okay.
But as long as they happen, they're fine.
Okay. Can you teach her the big lobby ball so she can?
I've been trying.
I refuse.
Dale knows.
I refuse.
Dale knows one speed.
Power, baby.
Get after it.
She's lightning
So
McQueen.
how close can I come to the net on my second serve?
Yeah, exactly. How hard can I hit it?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Hey, be nice to me.
The lobby ball's really tough for Dale.
Don't tell the whole world.
Sorry. We'll edit that out.
But Trevor, you also do a really good job with like the drills, your round robin. You offer drills and different leagues that you
Different
bring
leagues,
together.
So like going to
and
USTA.
coaches. You have a bunch of different coaches that focus on different things at your club.
Correct.
Yeah. So really, if anyone's at any level, you can assess them and say, okay, this is a good place to put you in.
Yeah, so different level, different learning style.
Yes.
We try to pride ourselves on every pro is doing this or that, maybe saying ultimately the same thing, but maybe explaining it a different way.
Yeah.
So I might
That's what
connect
I found with you.
this pro or this pro. It's not hurting any of our feelings. But it's who you connect with.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, and
Totally
that's
true.
key because Trevor has learned my learning style because Trevor is my coach.
Yeah.
He knows to give me pictures and explain it in a certain way.
Exactly right.
So it works well.
I love it. I love watching the
So
gym.
the one thing that we have not talked about from the golf perspective is the biggest thing that happens on the island in the golf world.
What is that?
The RBC tournament,
yeah.
which is coming up. So can you talk a little bit to
Especially
that
you've been here
tournament?
for a long time.
Yeah.
Give me any good stories. You ever meet any of the golfers?
Jesus, tons of stories about the Heritage for sure. But
Yeah.
and my boys, when they were younger, they all kind of worked down there as to help pick up the balls for the pros when they come down and to work on the practice range and stuff like that. I've had some friends that would participate in the pro-ams, and I'd caddy for them, and then you get to be in the group with the pro.
Oh, how cool is that?
So it's kind of lots of that stuff. It's
Yeah.
so you get to meet some of the pros. Some of the pros come to our course over the years when they're here for the week.
Oh, no
when they're
way.
not when Harbour Town's not available to them, they'll play in town.
Wow.
Do you guys shut it down? Like, how does that work with them? Like, because obviously they're pros.
It's
Like,
very private
do you
for them, or?
do you let them kind of have the course and
When they come visit us, no, they're just.
just get
If it's
out?
a private club, it's easy though.
Oh, yeah.
The members will kind of leave them alone a little bit, but they'll want to see them and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but no, you see all kinds of stuff like that. It's a fun week. I mean, I like to go to it I go one day a week. I go down there on Saturday primarily, and then
So
take
what
it all
happens
in.
on a Saturday? Explain what happens at the RBC.
Biggest
'cause
party
it-
of the
Yeah.
It is
Just
the
a-
biggest cocktail party I've seen
Yeah,
in this town.
it's
That's how I can explain it.
yeah. There's parties in the houses and that are on the golf course. I mean, everybody's throwing a party. I
Yes.
mean,
The boats are out on the
the
water.
boats are in the
That's the cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just a big party, and I think the players enjoy it because they're coming from Augusta.
Yes.
Some of them are.
The Masters.
The ones that played in the Masters, and that's like a high stressful week for them.
Exactly.
And I think Hilton Head is kind of, hey, let's get the family will show up, and it's a lot less stressful, fun.
Yeah.
The beaches and stuff like that. So
I know a lot of them rent houses in Sea Pines, and their whole
Yeah.
families come.
yeah,
And it is a
yeah,
family
and you'll bump
affair
into
for
them now and then if you're
Yeah.
down the south end, and if you're going to the restaurants and down the south end, or you're going to the Harris Teeter down by Park Plaza.
Yeah.
They'll be shopping and looking for stuff, and so you'll bump into them now and then down there, the players, because most of them are going to be in Sea Pines.
Yes.
What's your most memorable one you ever met that you were like, wow, that was really cool?
Let's see, for the Heritage. Well, I used to go down a lot on Tuesdays,
Yeah.
and because Tuesdays was the practice rounds,
Yeah.
and there's nobody there, not that many people, and anybody can go. And Brad Faxon's from New England, and
Okay.
he would know, maybe not remember my name, but I was watching him play with a couple of buddies, and they let us come in, a buddy of mine, and we got to walk the entire practice round.
Wow.
With Fax and his caddy, and they were just kind of going through the motion, and that was a really memorable thing.
Yeah.
One time I was there once with my son, who's a lefty. My middle son's a left-handed player, and he loved Phil Mickelson because he was
Of course,
lefty.
yeah,
course.
right.
And Mickelson was walking off the ninth green one time, and I'm kind of right there, and my son wanted to see if he could get his autograph. My son was very shy. He was like 8 or 9 years old at the time. And I go, and I just said, "Hey, Phil, he's your number one fan, not a lefty." And Phil heard me say lefty. I think
Yeah.
he came over there and gave him his glove and
Oh,
shook his
just
head.
there.
And my son's like, and I'm not the biggest Pickle Mickelson fan, but my son thinks
Loved
he's
it.
the
Yeah.
so stuff like that. See, stuff that happens all the time like that down there. So.
So it's a real local feel. isn't
Yeah,
it?
very local. Lots of locals come out. I mean, I'll go down this week and I'll see people I haven't seen for years, and
Yeah.
And it's
They all come back. I mean,
They
you
all
see
come
everybody
back.
everybody comes back for
Yeah.
wearing their plaid. You got plaid, right? You
Yeah.
got plaid jacket, I think. Yeah.
hold on for the plaid.
Not so much.
It doesn't go with my complexion.
But no, it's a fun week, and I know John Farrell very well. He's the director of sports down there at Sea Pines, and he's always a big part of it. And Steve Wilmot's the tournament director, so it's a fun place to go down. Especially I've been 37 years. I guess I lived down here, so
Yeah.
Wow.
and
wild.
and you go down there, it's amazing how many people you'll bump into and
They just keep
and catch
coming
up
back
with and
for it.
stuff. It's a I look forward to it. I don't go down there much.
Yeah.
I go down there just that one Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And take it all in and
That's
so.
awesome. So Trevor, you have an event that you participate in, is the Pro League.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Tell people what that is, because that's kind of a big deal on the island.
yeah. So the Hilton Head Island Pro League is a group of tennis pros. So from all around the island, everyone has kind of a backstory of playing high level, college, some pro. So we kind of get over and go around all the other clubs and play some pickup matches.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get all the coaches,
Coaches,
pros
get
get together.
together.
And play each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like one of the more notable names, so like Tommy Shimada, top in the world in doubles. He's competed in it. Wayne Ferrero, right? He's played in it as well.
Nick Bibles.
These guys
Nick
all like to
Bible,
golf.
who's a
He's been
current
on the
pro,
board.
yeah.
They like to golf. Tommy Shimada plays at Golden Bear out.
Does
I
he?
see him, I see him every now and then.
Yeah.
Great
But
guy.
yeah, but very high level tennis. It's a great turnout. We usually get somewhere between 100 and 200 I know when we brought it back after COVID, our first match, we had over 500 people showed up.
So fun.
The
was
fun
phenomenal.
part about it is you bring your wine, you bring your beer, or
Yeah, it's a
there's
big
food
part. It's
trucks.
so social.
It
Yep.
is. It's a social event
Yeah.
that everyone. It's like a tennis
Correct.
exhibition, but really good tennis.
Very
Yeah.
good tennis.
But it's
it's really good.
competitive
It's very
because it's a
competitive.
league. You
It's
guys
a
are all
league.
going
We go
against.
fight.
Yeah,
You know, and-
bragging rights.
You
Bragging
never know.
rights.
We need to get a Real Talk team.
Yes, we do.
I might know a guy to help you out.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
But that's what's so fun about it is because the tennis
Yeah.
community
Oh,
comes
for sure.
out,
Yeah.
and if you want to meet people, that's one
For
place
sure.
to do it.
You know,
When-
on a selfish note, like that was great for me moving down, not knowing anyone.
Yeah.
You know, instant met so many people. A lot of my membership over at Spring Lake came out to
That's
support.
what I love. Everybody
Yeah.
comes and supports their pro. It's literally the
Yeah.
locals
Oh,
in each community
For
is
sure,
they fervent
Yeah.
on their pros.
100%.
I wanted to get one of those little Trevor faces that we could,
Just-
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
just
I think
So
they
we-
had those. I think I've seen
Yeah, they
those.
do. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Especially at Spring Lake.
if they
Yeah.
don't, we sponsor a team. We're getting them.
We're getting. I like it.
When do they do that? When is
So that starts usually end of April, goes about 8 weeks.
8
That's
weeks.
great.
That's great. That's something to look
I have a
at.
question. So you mentioned before Smith Stearns
Yes.
and Vandermeer.
Yes.
Like iconic names
Yes.
Correct.
in tennis.
Yes.
Okay. So do they have the same level of influence on the pro level that they've had? Like, say, I know in the 80s they had a lot of kids come up and go. Is it the same as it was? Or is it that kind of tailed off a little bit?
That's a Barker.
I think they get a lot of them going to college.
Yeah,
They-
so
they- they
that's
get-
pretty
I-
much what the
that's
whole point
the-
is.
Yeah,
I would
get 'em
say
into
yeah,
college.
so-
Get them into
Yeah.
college.
Get into
Gotcha.
college. I think that's
Yeah.
definitely the
The
goal
goal.
of how many kids we can kind of get into the higher learning and kind
Okay.
of extend their tennis that way.
Okay, so it's
Um,
not necessarily to kind of an on-ramp to getting into the...
No, there's some, right?
Okay.
You know, but again,
Okay.
you know, you're talking about the pros you see on TV. You know, out of the whole world, you have 300, you know, that are kind
Yeah,
of making
that's true.
into, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
Your big majors.
Right.
So, you know, like a big
that
notable
is a
name.
small number when you really think about
Oh, 100%.
So small.
Unbelievable.
So
Like,
you're talking about
minuscule.
very minuscule.
Wow.
But in terms of those players going into higher learning and kind of going into higher stuff, 100%. You know, I would say that those two groups are definitely sending a lot of kids into higher
college.
into
And I
college.
think that is a big focus because they have all the kids camps. They have every single day they have training, and
For sure.
I know that people from college come to train there in the summertime specifically to
For sure.
move.
Oh yeah, like
into
right now, like all
different-
the, isn't it this time
Oh,
of
yeah.
year?
Right
'Cause-
now, they're having all the college teams come down.
Yeah.
You know, they'll come out, play each other. It's their spring break.
Yeah.
So get a little.
And they do that with
sun.
golf
They do
too,
that
with
with
the
golf,
Darius
too.
Rucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big college tournament at Long Cove
Yeah.
just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a couple of junior academies, golf academies. On the
Here
island,
too?
Yep. So
Okay.
there's-
Oh yeah, the
the
JPG.
JPGA is
Yep.
another one. I worked for them for about a year, and
Okay.
and they had when I was there in 2013, I believe. There was a student there that now has 3 wins on the DP World Tour, which is the European Tour.
Oh wow.
He was from Northern Ireland. No, he's from Scotland. Sorry, Ewan Ferguson is his name. So
Okay.
if you guys
Ferguson,
Google
that's a real-
Ewan Ferguson. You Google him. He's
Yeah.
plays on the tour.
Wow.
On the European tour, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make a major. He's played in the British Open, the Open Championship before. So he's won, and then there's so few and far between these
Yeah.
kids that come to tennis academies.
Yeah.
They end up getting D1 bids at big schools. They play at big schools in college. This kid he went pro right off the bat when he was 19.
Yeah.
But for him, he's 28 now, I guess. And but
He came through
he
Hilton.
came
Head.
through Hilton Head. He was
Oh, the talent's amazing. I remember that one girl we saw down at
Chaplain.
Chaplin. She was like 11.
She was 11 or 12, and I'm telling you, she was.
She was here for
groomed to
Smith
be
Stearns.
professional.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she was unbelievable.
I was like, I mean, she would destroy me. Like, no, I know that, but I mean, like, you would think an 11-year-old, you're like, all right, maybe I can, like, you know. But
Oh, no.
she was
She was
so
just-
intense, so locked in, and I couldn't believe the skill level of this.
100%.
There was an Allison Risk is a big name in tennis. I mean, she was ranked in the top 20, I think, at some point in time in the world. And she trained mostly on Hilton when she was younger. I think she's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
She had a lot of time. She used to hit with a lot of the pros when she was, this is years ago.
Yeah.
She would hit with the pro at Indigo Run, and I'm sure Trevor would get a crack at the good players here would hit with these gals. And, but she made a name for herself on the tour. And,
Yeah, Jessica Bakula is another one.
Jessica Bakula, yeah. She's been here
And is it true that a lot of they'll come here to practice on the clay because we have so many clay courts to prepare?
Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
and for the competition, too.
Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time we like the U.S. Open, when I see Stan,
Smith.
Smith, and
Stan Smith.
every time I look, I'm like I say to the boys, I'm like, you know that guy's like really kind of
Right
huge,
down
like
the road.
that guy right there.
Yeah, he's on TV. We saw him right down the grocery store the other day.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
For a little island, we're doing pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy. He lives in Spanish Wells, you know. And
Oh, is that where he
and
lives?
I've been over there playing tennis before. I was playing some golf. I had a lot of friends over there, and one day I'm over just playing tennis, and Stan and Margie walk by, just walking 9 holes.
Isn't that crazy? There he is.
He's such an easygoing guy. and
Yeah.
It's just a great. It's
I
great.
love Spanish Wells.
Well, what's funny about it is you can't be surprised in this area. You have so many stars, quote unquote, whether it be sports, film,
Yeah.
radio. They all have homes. A lot
Fascinating.
of people have homes.
There's a
here.
lot of them here.
You just never know who you're going to walk
I
into.
mean, Michael Jordan lived in Wexford, for crying out loud.
I know.
You know, I mean, that's crazy. You know, so we'll wrap this up. A couple quick fire questions, okay? What's one myth about golf or tennis that isn't true?
One myth.
Oh, golf or tennis isn't true.
That it's easy? Just kidding.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah,
can-
you can pick it up in an instant. Yeah.
Well, I think the more you practice, the better you're going to get.
That's a myth.
That's a myth.
That's not a myth. No, I think
That's a real deal.
that's a real deal.
That's a real deal.
Yeah, I
thing
think it's
you
a
need
real
to do.
deal.
That's what we keep telling Charlie with baseball. You got to get out and practice.
Yeah.
You got to get the
Reps
reps.
matter.
Reps matter.
Reps matter, absolutely.
That's a toughie.
what's
huh?
Trevor?
It is a toughie. I would say one of the myths: the more tennis you play, the better you're going to get. Yes and no. You know,
Okay.
if you don't have a developmental mindset when you go out and play, because tennis is a game of skill development, right? So you can hit that same forehand, and if I'm just playing to win, you know, it'll get you to a certain level, but you're going to actually start noticing if I'm just playing to win, your strokes are going to start, deteriorating. You actually might get worse if you play more matches.
Okay.
Are you talking directly to me? Was
Maybe.
that a secret message?
I think it might have been.
I think it was.
Coach to student. He did a little Jedi move on you there.
Definitely need a balance. You need a balance of practicing and playing. For
Definitely.
sure. Definitely a balance. I mean, everybody's different. But some people like to spend more time practicing than playing,
would
and some
be
people
me.
want to play more
That
time
would be me.
practicing, playing than practicing. I'd probably go more towards the playing.
You want to play more than
I'd
practice.
play more, but practicing is very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
So
Practice.
when you're practicing golf, you're just, what do you, because isn't playing practicing, or you're because I don't golf, so I know it may sound like a dumb question, but like, is it being out in the driving range is what you're practicing?
Oh yeah, you're practicing the different elements of the
Okay,
game. You know,
got
the
it.
short game, the chipping, the pitching, the driving, the irons. I always try to put it all together as kind of a one swing, 14 club philosophy. You know, trying to keep your thoughts nice and more rhythmical and stuff like that, and,
Okay.
versus just all the different aspects. Golf is tough. I mean, even
I
though
was going to say,
Yeah.
golf sounds awfully
golf is
complicated.
difficult, even though in tennis the ball,
And that's, you're trying to get me into it.
Good luck.
the ball's
I don't have
moving.
the patience.
In tennis, the ball's moving all over the place, and that
Yeah.
makes it hard. And golf is not moving; it makes it hard.
Okay, if I miss a ball, 4 feet in tennis, a little bit to the right of the center from where I was aiming, it's not as detrimental as it is in
As
golf.
with
Yeah,
golf.
for sure.
And I don't have to think about it as long either.
All right, last question for you both.
Yep.
If you had a dream memorable day, what would that look like in your each respectable?
Oh, that's a philosophical question there. Huh.
Dream day.
So
Yeah, a match round with anybody. Like, who would you do it with? And
if
would
you
it
could
be
play
and
one
why?
dream match or round with anybody, past or present, who would you play with?
thank you for explaining.
Yeah,
more
sorry,
about
that was a
So,
damn.
one-
I had to read the
Dream
dream
question.
day or dream match? So dream match.
Dream match.
Dream match, yeah,
Who
for
would you, well,
tennis
first of
and
all, if you're doing it doubles, who would you play with and who would you play against?
Ooh.
Ooh. And Dale can't be in the answer.
Well, what? He asked
I'm
me to
just
play
kidding.
tomorrow. And I
I
said
did.
no.
I did ask her to play tomorrow.
And I got a crying emoji.
Let's see. I would say I would love to be playing with Roger Federer because the guy's, you know,
Of course.
iconic.
That's a good
that's-
one.
that's a
I'll
good
take
one.
that.
Against, I would say Gael Monfils. You know,
Okay,
just
yes.
super athletic. What he does on the court is just phenomenal. And who'd be the fourth? Yeah, I guess the same goes with, for Novak Djokovic. You know what he can do on a court and his mental toughness.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
that's good. I like that.
I'm banking on you two.
Okay.
I would hope so, but I don't know. They're pretty tough.
No, that's awesome.
I'd probably want to play in a foursome.
Yeah.
I would have Tiger,
Tiger,
As your
Jack,
partner.
Jack.
and Arnold Palmer.
Oh,
Wow.
I think I'd have those
legends.
three guys because I don't remember too much about Arnold Palmer's heyday. You know, he was
Yeah.
in the 60s, maybe early 70s. Tiger was, I remember vividly his whole entire career.
Yeah.
And Jack, I'm just amazed. I would want to know who's better, Jack or Tiger.
Okay.
People always talk about that, but being on this and just playing golf with them would be just amazing. I can't imagine it.
Would you be able to hit a golf ball if you're playing with them?
Oh yeah, I'd have fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have fun. I've been playing my whole
You
life.
want to do a scramble, right?
And I wouldn't. I'd probably need to take some steroids to keep up with them. So. But no, I just like golf is such a fun game too. I mean, there's a lot of ribbing, there's lots of gamesmanship, and just a lot of fun, joke telling. It's a fun thing to do, and I think if you're with the right group of people, and that's what makes golf. I think it's the most part. It's the social aspect when you're playing. Like if you have a couple side bets with some guys and a lot of trash talking, and that's kind of
That's such a guy
I
thing,
love
the
that
trash
stuff.
talking.
I love that stuff, but in a good way. But and being a good sport, and I think golf brings that out. I mean, when my kids played golf when they were younger, it's that just the honor of the game. You know. Calling your own shots, you're not cheating at all, stuff like that. And so golf is a great game, and if you're pretty good at it, the better you get at it, the more fun it becomes. I mean, I think that's maybe true with tennis. I mean, people,
100%.
if you're good at it, it can be even more fun. It's frustrating if you're not that good.
Yep.
And some
Yeah,
people
it's
with tennis
frustrating
and
to be
some
good
golf,
anyway.
it's hard to get better. And so that's what we're there for, to try to make them better, maybe make them enjoy it more somehow. It's. As people get older, he says, you just got to try to enjoy it. You're in complete control of whether you're going to enjoy something or not.
It's the truth.
So try to enjoy it, even just laugh at the bad
That's just
shot.
a life principle
It's a
right
life
there.
principle. Try to enjoy it.
I have many friends that are just excited to be out on the court because they're running around and can do that versus
Disconnect from
able
the regular
to.
world.
I have to always remind myself of
Just have a good attitude if you can.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Just have a good attitude.
Yeah.
I'm going to save this question for last. I'm going to play it in the beginning and tell them they don't get to hear it until the end.
Okay.
All right, if somebody comes in town, they get 3 courses to play. What are the 3 courses they must play to really experience the best of Hilton Head?
Okay, I'm going to say Long Cove Club, Harbor Town, and the Golden Bear.
Bam!
Amen.
There it is.
I love it.
We'll end with that right there. Awesome. So listen, we're going to put your information up. If anybody's in town and they need a coach, are you guys available?
Sure. For sure.
All right, good. So
Come check out the clubs.
tennis, golf, and then Indigo
Pickleball.
Run is public.
Pickleball.
Indigo Run has a public golf course.
Yep.
Yes, so
Indigo
they can
public
come
golf
in.
course.
Golden
so they
Bear is
can come.
public.
All right, great. So we'll put your information out there. If you
Great.
guys are in town, you guys want to play some golf, get some tennis or pickleball lessons, look these 2 gentlemen up. But thank you guys for joining us.
Oh, great to
It
be
was a
here.
really
Great
good
to be here.
episode. Thank you so much.
That was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Hair and makeup for this episode brought to you by Salon Celeste, where style meets sophistication. Let Victoria Gonzalez create a confident, radiant look with an expert cut, stunning color, or the perfect blowout. Book your appointment today.
Don't forget to follow, like, share, and subscribe to Real Talk Hilton Head and leave us a review to help others discover the Lowcountry lifestyle.